Alright, I know I've been missing in action. Guilty as charged. But could you blame me? Seriously, it was the holiday season. And I just had to get away from the negativity. I mean, it was driving me crazy. Thinking about this team, let alone taking time to talk about them. Thinking about them hurt. The Christmas Day stuff. San Antonio. I mean, could you blame me? Seriously, could you blame me? You go to Oklahoma City. An unbelievable comeback. Unbelievable. Of course, D. Will was huge. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not going to talk about that because, they'll come home and they'll lose to Cleveland, and they don't. They beat Cleveland. They go ahead and take care of business, beating a decent Hawk team. And then last night was a very, very big victory. And when your opponent comes into your building, the hottest team, maybe, listen, face it, you're talking about historical. If Golden State gets the W last night, they are the first team in the history of the NBA to sweep a 7-game road trip. Now, I don't know how many 7-game trips there are. You don't talk to me about that. Go see Elias if you're interested. I'm sure it is not many, but still, 7 straight road games would have been amazing. And here they come out, and they put a 32 spot up on the board in the first quarter, and you're like, but there is a difference. There is a little difference in what's going on with this net team over the last couple of weeks, where they are not collapsing now. I don't know the direct correlation, but I would have to say that the addition of AK-47, if I were analyzing, which I am, that's what I'm doing right now, I would say that his presence in every one of the 4 games has been felt, and it's been a magical uplift. Like, he's a guy that he looks funny, he looks goofy. He's one of the ugliest son of a bitches I've ever seen with that haircut. Look at me talking about hair. But anyhow, the guy just does good things. He hustles. He's lengthy. He gets his hands in the middle of passing lanes. He's active around the rim. I think he's taken maybe 2 or 3 jumpers. Everything he's got is going to the rim. And it seems like there's an energy that he's projecting onto his teammates. And the result is a 4-game winning streak looking to Miami. Now, listen, did we get a break? Golden State was the last game of a road trip. Played the night before. Yeah, you got a break. But did Golden State get a break? Where there's no Lopez and no D-Nil? Yeah. Despite how much I can't stand D-Nil, and we'll talk about him, he's a factor. Before this latest injury, he played well those 2 games. And we all know when he plays well, he's a star. The problem is he doesn't play well enough. You don't make $98 million to play well 50% of the time. You make $98 million to play well 80% of the time, maybe 85%. They play 10 games, you have 2 bad ones. I want to say 3 bad ones? All right. Not really, but D. Will has been a 5-5 type guy. Maybe even a 4-6, to be honest. Maybe even a 4-6. But this was a quality win. Hello, Brooklyn. Kevin Garnett. Hello. I mean, when we made this trade, KG, this is what we thought we'd get out of you on a nightly basis. Now, I get that you're 107 years old. But this is what you gave last year every night in Boston. You're just a year older. So, okay, couldn't give what you gave last. We were expecting at least 75% of what you had in you last year. And, of course, you've given us about 20% of what you gave us last year in Boston. This is what we're expecting from you. some life, some toughness, some energy to feed off. And yeah, making 16, 17 footers like you have your entire career. Now, I understand you get old. I understand age. In baseball, pitchers don't have the same velocity. Your hand-eye coordination is not the same when you get older, so you can't hit the fastball that you once did. But in basketball, man, open shots, I'm sorry, but open shots don't correlate to me age. Now, I'm 40, I'm going to be 47 in March. 47. I play basketball 4 days a week. And if you have me open, if I'm open for a three-point shot in the games that I play, 50% of them are going in. This old, ugly bastard is going to make 50% of his threes. Now, I'm 47. And I'm not, and I'm 5'11" and shrinking. So don't give me, Garnett, that age is causing you to miss these jumpers. No. No, I'm not buying that. This is what we expect from you here on out. You need to take your days off? Go ahead. Take a rest here or there. But this is the effort that we expected. The reason why we got you is because we were a bunch of pussies last year. We lost to the fucking Chicago Bulls with no one healthy in their lineup in Game 7 in our building. We were down by friggin' 20 points in our building in a Game 7. That's why we bought you here, KG. So that's the shit last night. That's what we expect from you every night. That's not asking a lot. 13 and 5, whatever it was. I think you get 13 points, 5 boards. That ain't asking a lot. We ain't asking you to be a 24-point, 12 rebound guy, but 13 and 5 every night with that same kind of energy. Why can't listen? This East is brutal. I don't give a shit. I know Lopez is gone for the season, and yeah, we listen. We miss him. I pick on Brooke Shields all the time. The future in Brooklyn is as black as their road jerseys are. When you look at, we have a 7-foot center who's now on his 3rd surgery for his foot, and our star player gets hurt all the time and likes to talk about it. I love the line he had a couple of weeks ago. I'm hurt, but I don't like to talk about it. You know what that means? You just talk. What do you mean you don't like to talk about it? Because you just did. I wonder if Derek Jeter would have said that. Study Derek Jeter, D-Nil. Study him. Maybe one of the greatest of all time at his position. One of the greatest clutch players of all time. Never, ever, ever utters a word about his injuries and gets pissed off if you insinuate he's hurt. Guy one year played with with a thumb that was like rubber and never said a word. D. Will, he's the only guy I know. I mean, the Nets lead the league in guys. Let's think about this. Do the Nets lead the universe in guys that play games? Play an entire game, and then you find out a day later they're injured. Nothing happened during the game. How about Lopez in Philly? I was in Philly. He played the entire game. He was there for the last play. He tried to block. He tried to block. What's his name? Shot. I forget who took the last shot. Evan. And you find out he broke his foot. How about a couple years ago? He played the preseason game against the Knicks, and you find out that he broke his foot. They will put 21 points on the board, 7 assists against Cleveland. And the next day, he's having an MRI. Never saw anything. This is our future. $98 million point guard who is hurt all the time. And a guy who's 7 foot that's had surgery on his foot 3 times. So the future is dark. So all I have right now is this season to think about, because the East sucks. All right, with or without Darren Williams in the lineup. Listen, can we do what we've done the last 4? Can you compete? I know you're not going to get every victory. You know, I was contemplating last night. I mean, if we lose this, I'm saying, Bob, if I'm talking to myself, if we lose this game, you know, you can't kill them. You know, but then that other side of me, you know, the negative guy, which Chris Carino and Tim Capshaw point out on the post game, Bob is very doomy gloomy. The negative guy's like, hey, yo, what are you talking about? This Golden State team is tired. This is their 7th game on a road trip. Bullshit. You got to win a game. But honestly, I mean, if they come out and play the Heat well tomorrow night, you know, go toe-to-toe with them, they compete, and they lose. Listen, all we want is competitiveness. We've seen more, and Paul Pierce said it. He said a few weeks ago, I've never been on a team that has so many blowouts. Yeah, and I've never seen a team, a supposed good team, that's had so many blowouts. I've been an F fan for 30 years. I've seen many blowouts. Many. But not teams comprised of $100 million payroll. And there's enough here. AK-47 stays healthy. He brings a lot to the table. Livingston is doing a nice job being aggressive. Listen, nobody's stopping Steph Curry. Steph Curry is amazing. Amazing. So is the other kid. The other kid's not as great a player as Steph Curry, but he's good. David Lee is a legit, man, if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm looking at David Lee going, ugh. Because that dude, you can't tell if he's lefty or righty. Unless I got the NBA package. I watch Golden State as much as I can. It's great. You get home late. They're playing at 11 o'clock, and they fascinate. I love watching them play. David Lee is a superstar. Score anywhere on the floor with either hand. If you didn't know what he was, you didn't know he was lefty, you would think he's righty. So big win. Big victory. And let's see what happens on Friday. All we're asking for you guys is to compete. You went down by 16 in the first quarter. And, you know, my teeth are like this. But, man, you showed some friggin' fight. You haven't wilted. And that's all we ask for. Seriously, I mean, at this stage, without your 2 best players, I mean, I'm assuming Williams will be back when they go to London. I'm assuming. Compete, man. Give it everything you friggin' got. Go out on the floor. You notice they're getting a few more loose balls. You know, that little extra play that's keeping a possession alive. AK with the tap off of Bogut. I mean, those are the things that we expect. 4 pretty good defensive efforts in the last 4 games. Defense is not talent. It's more effort. When you're in the NBA, you're talented. You're a talented player if you're in the NBA. Of course, there are more talented players than others. But defense is about effort. It's about sweat. And that's what we ask for every night. We demand it every single night. You're now in the 8th seed. All right. Let's continue this trend. And let's get ourselves this Atlantic Division. The boys on the other side of town are starting to play really well. I mean, those guys should have 4 straight victories as well. They should have won that game in Houston. They're starting to play well. We got a date with them coming up. You know, let's take this. Let's friggin' step it up here. And when Softy Boy D-Nil finally comes out, you know, I'm not sure if there was any coincidence that Steph Curry and Jeff Teague were in town for him to get his little platelet, whatever he's doing. But when he gets his ass back here, you know, why can't we friggin' can we get to 500? Can we be a 500 basketball team this year? And get in the playoffs with a little enthusiasm and play like we have these last 4 days. Because if you play like you have in these last 4 days, you can win a first round. And am I crazy to say you can make it interesting? I mean, an interesting second round? An interesting? If you play like you did the last 4 times. I know it's a big if. But if. All right, let's do it. Leave me alone.